Welcome to Vicksburg.
Woo! We made it!
To the ToyCon, River City, whatever the name is.
Wherever we are.
This is Super Squad D. You know them, love them already. It's Joseph and Tyler. Go for it, boys.
All right.
Thank you.
Woo. Yes, thank you to the two people that aren't related to you. Yeah, that's Tyler.
And that's Tyler.
Once again. All right, well, thanks for coming. I guess we're done.
Yeah, I think that we should just start off by giving away a figure.
Why not?
That's it.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you want a free figure.
Yeah.
All right. Come on. How about a figure? There you
Absolutely.
go.
My
One,
husband will kill me.
That's
if I don't
right.
get.
Oh, great. All right. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. So, we run a little YouTube channel called Super Squad D.
Yeah. What does the D stand for?
The D stands for declamation.
That's not even a real word.
No, I'm a big man.
There's no way that declamation is a real word.
Well, I'm second guessing myself now. But I'm pretty sure it means public speaking. But I could be wrong about that.
There's no chance.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, that's fair. That's fair. That QR code will send you straight to the YouTube channel,
Indeed.
which I believe we are currently. Come on in, please join in. I believe are we YouTube live? Or Instagram live?
Instagram live.
We're Instagram live.
Instagram live on SSD Toys.
That's right.
Here we go. SSD Toys. Tyler's photography
That's it.
account. Yeah.
We're just short of 10K.
Nice.
10K today, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Perchance. As
Perchance.
they say.
To dream of 10K.
10K today.
Is that a saying? I like it. I like it.
That's what people say. That's what people say.
So yeah, so we, as mentioned, kind of just hobbyist up here, we do YouTube, that's what the QR code sends you to, SSD Toys on Instagram. Tyler does a lot of photography. Let's go with a quick example.
Okay?
If the computer doesn't crash in the
Yeah, let's
process.
see. You asked for high quality photos. And then, yeah, there's Batman, as you can see. That was the whole description. I feel like that was pretty self-explanatory.
That's right.
Did I need to say more?
I didn't want you to start saying
It's
it.
Batman.
I didn't ask you to do anything else. But yeah, so SSD. But yeah, so this is something that we like to do. It's how we I don't know, now kind of feel more connected to our hobbies a little bit, like having an outlet to be able to kind of branch into like the creative aspect of it, but also like share it with people and kind of build into the community, like get to know other people in like the collecting or I don't know, movie watching or comic reading community, whatever it may be, right? Is that a fair assessment?
It's a very fair assessment. Yeah, we love our hobbies. We love connecting with other people. It's very cool as we are at a ToyCon in our own state, which is very fun, very cool. But one of the things I think as you grow up and as you become an adult is you get kind of disconnected with people who have the same interests as you.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to join an online community where you can connect with other people who share the same hobbies as you. So that's really fun to get to grow that community aspect. We've had a good time getting to know people in live chats and Facebook, Instagram, and of course other YouTube content creators.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I really strongly enunciated content.
You did. I hated it.
That was intense.
And I think it's interesting you point out, like, it's as you get older, you kind of like lose, I don't know, connection with all of that because for most of my life, I've been trying to get away from you.
You can't. It's not possible.
As a friend.
Remember when you went to Disney World last year and I just randomly showed up? We were talking about that before the panel started. That was a treat.
Yeah, there's a video about that on the YouTube channel if you want to go there and check that out. But
And if there's any questions in the live chat, feel free to throw them out. We have professional manning the cameras.
I mean, not a video professional.
No, just a professional.
Just a different job.
Yeah, it's definitely not videography.
But yeah, exactly what you were talking about. I mean, we kind of had this idea to start doing this channel and all that and for fun for a couple of reasons. But the main one being just to connect with people and be involved in communities. You were involved in a lot of I think some pretty big like Facebook groups about like omnibus collecting or figure collecting or whatever it was. You had several groups that you were in, and this was just a great way for us to kind of take, our hobbies and things we enjoy doing, like photos or making dumb videos, whatever. And connect with people that way. And it's been great. It's been a lot of fun over the years to do that. Yeah, exactly. So
super fun. Super squad fun.
Okay.
Nailed it.
All right.
Nailed that joke.
Did you?
Did I? Did shout out. I feel pretty good.
Did you? So yeah. Let me ask you this. This is kind of one of the points that we kind of wanted to hit on when we're up here doing this, but like, why photography? What about photography is something that you got into? Because this is kind of recent.
Yeah, I've been doing this for just around a year now.
Okay.
And
about the time that you invaded my family vacation.
That's right.
Disney World.
I don't want to say they were completely related, but you literally looked at me and said, "Don't follow me to Disney World.
Yeah.
Don't show back up in my life until you take some good photos of toys." And I said, "That's not specific, but I'll do it." And so that was really my entire motivation for getting into toy photography, was just getting back into your
It was despite me. That's it. So how have I been friends for? I mean, like,
it's 38 years.
Right. It's honestly been almost 30 years, I think.
It's been a long time.
So most of our motivation in life is to fight each other.
That's
but anyway,
true.
photography.
So, I have all these action figures. I love figures, as one does at a toy convention. And I just felt like a lot of what I was doing was buying the figure and then just kind of like tossing it somewhere. And I wanted to get a little more out of the figure. Being an avid comic collector, I've always liked the art aspect of dynamic fights. And I thought, you know what? I discovered this whole toy photography thing kind of existed. And I was like, let's give it a shot. And I just found a lot of enjoyment from it. I found a lot of connection with the figures, and it gave me an additional way to enjoy the figures for me, beyond just kind of tossing them in a bin or tossing them on a shelf. So it felt really cool to do that. I had a good time doing that.
I like that. So what do we have up here? We got.
So this is Spider-Man.
And that's it?
Yeah, this is Spider-Man. I don't know if you recognize him. One of the best Spider-Man's been around Spider-Man. And for those who are filtering in, don't worry, we got another giveaway coming very shortly. And to enter, all you have to do is just raise your hand.
Yeah, exactly. Just go on and have a seat, hang out for a minute.
That's it.
Okay, all right. But
You're entered in the giveaway now. All the hands go up, you're entered in the giveaway.
Gotcha. All right. But for real, like, well, you know what? We'll go with a different one since apparently you don't want to talk about. Well, no, I do like that one though because of the background. Let's go. We'll switch over to a simpler.
Yeah. So this was a little bit of a portrait shot. This caused some intense discussion from fans online because I simply asked the question, who would win, Batman or Wolverine? And I don't know if you guys are aware, but fans have opinions. And there was some strong opinions about who would win in this Batman versus Wolverine matchup. And I just thought it would kind of be a fun thing, but there were people who were like, well, Wolverine can do this and Batman can do this. And then it was like, well, what does win mean? Does it mean obliterate? Does it just mean like, and I was like, wow, you guys are really thinking this through.
Yeah, that's what happens. The moment you actually try to, just, have fun, people will get in the way of having fun.
Yeah, and so I enjoyed, mixing it up between like a scene versus just like a profile shot like this with plain background, just to kind of showcase the glory of the figure. I'm big on articulation and
when speaking,
articulation.
So much.
And these figures have great articulation, and so I'm very excited about the articulation that I'm articulating arbitrarily or rhythmically.
Okay.
That's the only other word I
Yeah, that makes sense. So, so I'm like, this is simple composition in the photo, right? You got a couple of figures, set up a simple backdrop, you got some lighting, you got a little bit of backlighting on the backdrop as well, or, is this kind of more so just highlighting the figures?
Yeah, there's backlighting. One thing that I discovered that I'm in love with, creepily, in fact, is rim lighting. So rim lighting is the light behind the figure that separates it from the background. And you'll notice in movies or shows, whenever there's a dark background, they do that to separate the character from the background and show some depth. And I've become overly zealous in my room lighting to the point where it's like, are these characters glowing? Are they charging with power? But I enjoy it, and that's my style of photography. I'm really into it. So I alternate between scenes, you know.
Yeah. And I like it also because you've got an example like this, or an example like if we jump to this one, if the computer doesn't crash again. What was it?
I believe, yeah.
That's got a little bit more going on with it. There we go. A little bit more going on.
Oh, yeah.
The Red Hood photo, because you did take this photo.
I did. That was me. I did take that.
But you've got a little bit more going on in backdrop, in the a little bit more behind. Obviously, the character here, not just two characters in a blank backdrop. You've got more of a landscape they're involved in and all that. What's different? What do you have to do differently with something like that?
Yeah, so these involve...
Or do you just wing it every time?
You know what's funny is the creative process really is like, I set up the camera and I just start putting stuff. I have like props and dioramas and I just start slapping stuff in a photo. And I'm like, well, it looks cool. I don't know. And so sometimes I create the diorama first. If you're watching on Instagram Live right now, in my stories, I will oftentimes say, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Who wants to tell me what to do today? And I'll give options and people will vote and be like, yeah, let's have Ultrons fighting Power Ranger. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So let's get crazy with it. But in this particular case, I just want to create the illusion of a cityscape. And so there's some mixes of both backdrop, maybe a printed backdrop like the city back there, and then we got this cool sign and some of the diorama stuff. So it gives it a little bit more of a real feel. I try to recreate comic book scenes and things like that at times. So I have a lot of fun doing that.
Speaking of recreating comic book scenes, I do like the symbiote Spidey photo that should pop up. But yeah, there you go. Of actually kind of recreating the comic cover.
Yeah, that was something that I got into recently, trying to recreate a comic cover.
Now, with the cover, is that just something that like you added in, like the text, like in post or something? Or I know sometimes you will take a high definition LED screen behind whatever it is that you're taking a picture of and put a backdrop on that as well. Do you remember what you did?
Yeah, in this was actually added post-production, the words back there, but I do that quite often where I'll just like set my TV up in the background. It's amazing what a little bit of blur can do to make it not look like a screen in the background. So in this particular case, I added it in with post-production, but it was really fun. In fact, we got that. We got this figure right here.
We do. We do.
I saw this gentleman right here when he came in with glasses, raise his hand to enter. When you win this figure, congratulations! Great Sonic shirt, by the way. Big fan. That figure was the same figure in the photo, which was my most anticipated Marvel Legend of the year. So I was extremely excited when it came out. It was have fun. It was a lot of joy to get to mess with that figure. So I was very excited.
What made that one your most anticipated?
Because the black costume of Spider-Man is my favorite.
It just is,
and that's it.
It's really cool. Yeah. We've been watching. My wife and I have been rewatching.
Wait, you're married? That doesn't sound right. Well,
she claims me sometimes. Yeah. We've been watching the old Spider-Man animated series. That's so good. Shocker, of course, voiced by legendary voice actor Jim Cummings.
Yeah.
The voice of Winnie the Pooh. That's the voice of Shocker.
Incredible.
Yeah. But we're rewatching. We just got through the entire symbiote saga in season one. And it's even better than I remember.
It is. It really is.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Completely unrelated to photography, but I'm going to put it in the photo. What were your favorites when we were kids? And I used to go over to your house and like I really was just there because you had a life-size Michael Jordan cardboard cutout, and I was really interested in that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, what were your favorite comics or shows or heroes when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, for me, it all came down to Spider-Man. I mean, when I was a kid, Spider-Man the animated series came out, and that really changed my life in a lot of ways because I began watching that show in the afternoons and was like, this is incredible. So I got into Spider-Man long before comics due to the animated series. Then, X-Men the animated series came out, a huge game changer, and Batman, of course, was big, Batman Beyond. And now it's like, man, kids today, they got a lot to choose from. Back then it was like Fox Kids at 3 in the afternoon, like, Mom, don't be late for school today!
they do a previously on recap that is 5 or 6 minutes. It's half the episode.
Well, it's funny because, now with the advent of online streaming, it's pretty crazy how, like, kids today don't even have to experience commercials. So, like, my daughter, who's 7, who's here, by the way, loves commercials.
Let you guys guess who she is.
Yeah, she loves commercials because she never used to see them. She's like, commercials awesome. And I'm like, when I was a kid, I was like, get out of here, commercials. You don't want to see those.
Exactly.
And commercials were there solely to get to the bathroom break.
Yeah, that was it.
That was the whole purpose of commercials.
I've actually gotten to a point in which I'm so unused to commercials that when we're watching something
It's
that
jarring.
has commercials, well, I always time it poorly.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go get a drink, and I get up to get a drink, and 30 seconds later, a commercial starts. I'm like, well, I just missed.
I just missed 30 seconds. I missed Shocker being like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Shocker trying to get his honey pot. I'm just gonna believe that Shocker. And there's some universe where Winnie the Pooh turned into Shocker.
Makes
later on.
Math checks out.
Okay, what else? Because I'm a video guy more than a photographer. I'm actually a pretty terrible photographer. I'm notoriously bad at it.
But you're great at videography. Which is why every video you see on our channel is edited, produced, directed, and cut by Joseph.
So Tyler does a lot of live streams on the channel, and I'll put the QR code back up and the information. That QR code will send you straight to the YouTube channel if you want to subscribe. So Tyler will do a lot of live streams, especially with a lot of like the collectors, groups that we're connected with, or friends of ours that live all over the country that do collecting and all that. But they always laugh at the fact that Tyler hasn't edited a video
No.
in years.
Years.
Because I enjoy it. And so like he'll do like a talking head video about some topic and then he just sends it to me. I'm like, okay.
It's pretty
That sounds great. But it's also great because I get to put in my own jokes maybe.
Yeah. It is pretty phenomenal. Yeah, it's great.
So it's great. But is there any other, I mean, obviously you got the collecting, you got the photography now as well, but like what else helps you enjoy the hobby of maybe collecting, or obviously you were a big comic guy for comic reader or omnibus reader, or and collector for a long time, but what makes you really stay connected with the hobby, enjoy the hobby, and not, I don't know, as someone that likes to take photos and share it or make videos and share stuff, how do you keep the hobby a hobby? And not like, because I know that's something that you and I both talked a lot about with each other and all, but how do you keep it from like, being something where you're like stressed about it, like, I'm putting out enough photos.
Yeah, feeling like work.
How do you enjoy it?
It's a little bit weird because I have just found such a love for photography. The ADHD person in me is like, ooh, a new scene, a new picture, let's do it.
Dopamine?
That's right. So like, I try to completely mix up all of my photo setups. But I think a big aspect of the joy that I get from it, and you guys will maybe connect with this as well, is connecting with other people. Like having a community around you of people who are all interested in the same thing. I'm friends with a good bit of other toy photographers. We always enjoy bouncing ideas off each other and helping each other, and that's a big deal. And then
you've done a few collaborations on your Instagram. SSE Toys can't even speak anymore. You've done some collaborations with some other photographers, right?
Yeah, and that's always super fun to like pick a figure and try to take the same photo and see how we all do it differently. Is always really fun to me. But that community aspect is such a big deal to me because it lets me enjoy the hobby in a way that I wouldn't just get to do by myself. It's always fun. And then there are things that some people hate, but I love, like the chase. I don't know if you've ever looked for a figure before that you really want, and you get. I don't know, the online has kind of undercut that a little bit. But the joy of going into a brick and mortar store and finding a figure and then coming home with 3 of them is really exciting. And it always really pleases my wife. Like,
gotta love that.
For milk, and I'm like, well, we got Spider-Man. We got milk. What to tell you?
Show up, get done with work for the day, get home, and you try to get there first to hide the big bad toy store.
For sure.
And
For sure.
BTS annoyingly puts like their logo on their box.
We thank you for that.
Toys. I'm like, I don't know what this is. Could be anything. Did you order it? Probably because you want to. I don't know. It's probably look. I don't know what to tell you. So that's a big deal for me. Because you recently gotten into some figures yourself, though, right? Like you were as a kid, you collected, correct?
I didn't collect as a kid. I got them, played with them until they fell apart. They were destroyed. But no, absolutely. I was always a huge action figure fan when I was younger, growing up, and I loved it because I love story. I love a good story, and I'm kind of like I'm a storyteller. That's kind of my personality. It's just that's what I gravitate towards, and so I would get all these action figures of like things I love. Like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Jurassic Park, so you can believe I'm ready for Jurassic Park Dominion. I'm just like Sam Neill, he's back in, Alan Grant, I'm so excited, But it's like Jurassic Park, Star Wars, and Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, and so it's like I still have all of my old figures from when I was a kid. Like my mom foolishly kept them, and then apologized to my wife when I picked them up. And so, but I had not really done like collecting of Marvel Legends or Black Series, whatever it was. I hadn't really gotten into that. And then, honestly, we were at a Target together. Like last year, we made a video. We're in it. We were just like, "Oh, this is a good Boba Fett figure here." And I was like, "I love Boba Fett."
Wait, Boba Fett? Are you serious?
Yeah. And next thing I know, I have made a quest to purchase every Mandalorian Black Series figure there is, But there's something about it that appeals to me, I think, because it's like, it's kind of reclaiming my youth a little bit, as I get older and this beard gets more and more gray, and I'm like, hey, you know what? It's fun to kind of get some of those. Get some of the updated. These are the figures. I think you said this one time. These are the figures that we thought we had as kids. In terms of like detail, articulation, all that. Articulation. And so it's really cool now to have these and be like, oh, this connects me with so many. I'm a sentimental person. And so it's like it connects me with so many childhood memories. I'm like, oh, this is what I loved about the story of Star Wars. This is what I loved about, Spider-Man the animated series as a kid, or Batman the animated series as a kid. Like we were at flea market in Hattiesburg a couple of years ago, and my wife just spotted this Batman jacket she's got on.
Very cool.
Batman the animated series, and she was like, oh, this is funny. Should I get this? And I was like, yes.
You should wear it every day.
Here's my size. I'm already leaving this.
I kind of went towards
Yeah. So, yes, exactly. So I've had there's like we were just talking about a minute ago, there's the thrill of the chase. There's something fun about, like, being like, I want these, these Mandalorians. All of them. It's like, some of them were Walmart exclusives. So, like, where can I try to hunt something down? Some of them were Target exclusives, all these stupid exclusives. So like the chase of it. But like you were saying also, with ADHD, sometimes it is just a dopamine kick. Like I got something new, So but it's fun. There's a chase to it. There's a sentimental aspect to it. I think it's why we all kind of connect with what we connect with, right? Like there's a part of it's like we grew up with this, and now it's also cool again.
That's the funny thing, right?
Nerd culture is popular culture.
It's so good. Yeah, it's because like all of our generation grew up. And so now we're the adults, and a lot of this stuff is adults. A lot of the stuff that was
we're adults when we're grown up.
So a lot of the stuff that was targeted towards us, and now we actually have money to pay for it, unlike when we were kids.
Well, not anymore.
That's true. It's all gone. But it's kind of cool. So now they're like a lot of these figures and a lot of this stuff is made for our age or adults in general, which is really pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's made in a way that we can do stuff like set them up to take some photos. Set up a little display. Whatever it is that we enjoy and keep those. It's just it's great.
While you're picking another photo, I'm going to give a figure away to a completely random audience member.
Random.
As I tossed it, there you go. This is Waldo.
I love the Waldo.
You never see him. He's always there. One of the things that I did, I didn't include photos, but one of the things that I loved doing was I hid Waldo in a bunch of figure photos, and I put them online and watched as people tried to find him. And some of them were like pretty obvious, and some of them were like really hard. And then I went back and hid Wolf, which was his dog, just the tail, in a bunch of my photos, and people tried to find him, and it was a lot of fun. I need to do that again, because I had a good time doing it.
I kind of had hoped when like you sent me a bunch of these photos to have up here. I kind of had hoped that you'd send me the ones that all have Waldo.
Everyone, and I'm like in the presentation, every photo in this presentation.
Surprise! Gotcha. So we got, I want to make sure we leave some room. I don't know how much, Pixel Dan has to set up whenever he gets in here.
Yeah.
But I do want to, maybe touch on a couple more topics before we kind of, if y'all have any questions for us, we'll jump to those as well.
Yeah, any questions as well in the live chat.
Yeah, but I want to ask you about going back to collecting, as a collector, do you go into it with the mentality of go ahead and snag something and then decide if you're going to keep it later? How do you decide what you actually want? Are you more selective in the process now, maybe more so than you were earlier?
Yeah.
That's one of those things that I caught myself doing, and I'm I kind of like Mandalorian figures. What about every other Black Series? And so, are you more selective? What do you do with that?
Yeah, when I was...
I'm sure your wife will disagree on you being selective at all.
Yeah, she feels like I'm not selective, but believe me, I am. No, when I first started collecting, I think there's that rush as an initial collector where you're like, ooh, everything is cool and I want it all. But then as you start collecting, you realize, if nothing else, space is limited. And so you're like, all right, well, I gotta pare down, I gotta make sure I'm only getting what I want. So I think my biggest recommendation to people would be to really think about what you want in the long term, and not just to get it because someone else is getting it or because you see it on the shelf and think you want it. Because, in a few years, are you going to look back and be like, man, I'm really glad I had this figure? Or are you going to be like, well, that was kind of a waste. So I think picking something that you really love because you love it and not getting caught up in the rush of finding, the rush of buying, or the completionist mentality is really important. At least in my experience.
Yeah, because the completionist mentality is what hits me. I get so hyper-focused or obsessed with something for a little bit, and I get through it. I'm exhausted now. This is not fun anymore.
Yeah, and the toy companies know that, especially Marvel Legends, as they make Build-A-Figures, so they'll be like, here's 4 figures that are awesome, and 2 that you don't want or need. And you know they're Captain America. They're like a goofy suit, and you're like, I don't need it. But then you're like, can't leave this guy missing an arm. He's a Build-A-Figure. He's got to complete the Build-A-Figures, and he buy it, and then he goes and, the Captain America, 18 Captain America goes in the junk bin. One photo that I meant to send that I didn't was of an Iron Man armory set up with a bunch of Iron Mans. And so I got this armory set, and I was so extremely excited solely because all these Iron Men over the years that I purchased that I didn't really want in the armor. I'm like, thank goodness there's Mark 73.5 Iron Man, which is a slightly different tinge of gold. Finally gets used.
Yeah, it's got
Finally.
My wife is very pleased by it. She's very into that.
Yeah, I have another good friend who. I'm sorry, you're right.
I'm just really good friend.
So my only other friend is that's what I meant to say. We talk about this a lot because he's big into card collecting, which is not something that appeals to me at all. But I'm glad that he enjoys it. But he talks a lot about buying, the basketball cards as he buys, and it's buying all these guys just because there might be some hype about it or somebody thinks they're valuable. And then he's like, no, I only care about the people I care about. So he's got thought, when he got into it, he bought more than he ever wanted.
Yeah.
And he realized it. Then he got rid of or sold a lot of whatever it was, and he's just focusing on what you. So I think that's important. It's what we all struggle with. I think it's kind of how do you focus on just what it is that you enjoy?
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that they're quote unquote valuable because someone else has said that they're valuable. So you're like, should I care about
Yeah,
this?
should I get this because it's really hard to find? But I don't really like it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's like there's that constant battle. It's the same reason that I'm going to use this as a way to, just because I made this chart.
Oh, you made a chart?
I made a chart.
Let's see the chart.
I use this also, or as a segue into like that. You know, it's a good way of approaching. I think how we kind of, I don't know, deal with other hobbies or interests or whatever. Because like we love TV, movies, all that stuff.
Yeah, so you do yourself.
Yeah, okay. I love it. I guess. I feel attacked now. But you know, like on the YouTube channel, it's not just about collecting. We talk a lot about movies and interest stuff. But like we started doing a series. We went through all the superhero movies that had come out and started giving them ratings just based on purely a subjective enjoyment of them. Yeah. Not a critique of whether they're good, bad, whatever it is. And so like I like it because it allowed us to kind of think through things. So like I came up with like a scale. Right? I gave it 1 through 5.
He came up with a
and then depending on whether it was like in that range, and I was like very much like, hey, the movie's just okay, I'm giving it a 3. I don't feel critical about that. That's right in the middle. And then,
it doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Yeah, it just meant you just found it okay.
I know, exactly, yeah, exactly. It's purely based off of enjoyment.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 1 through 5, and then like depending on like if I gave it a 1 and then I was like, no, it's real bad, I'm going to give it maybe a 1 or a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. But I also made a chart for your.
Thank you. I need that.
And I think you'll appreciate it because so there's no formula at all.
Alright.
1 through 5.
I've never ever used. Never once have I given a movie under a 6.
Yeah.
But 6 terrible, 7 I forgot the movie.
Yeah.
8
But here's the thing: the 7 you forgot the movie, but you're too proud to admit that you don't remember anything about it. So you're saying, "Oh, it's like 7 and a half, maybe."
Actually, that's so true. Oh my gosh.
So this gives you a bit of an insight in that, like I guess how we work together. Because like
every movie is like every movie that I see is between an 8 and a 9. Like if I love the movie a ton, it might be a 9.5. There's one movie that's a 10. It's Spider-Verse. Everything else, it's like I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds a great movie. Really liked it. 8.2. Oh, that was a phenomenal movie, but it did have some stuff I didn't like. 8.7. Yeah, it's all between like an 8 and a 9. That movie was awful. I'd never see it again. 8.1.
It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I'll give it maybe 7.9.
Yeah. I think the lowest movie I've ever scored, I think, was maybe like Justice League by Joss Whedon, which was like a 6.9.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad movie, would never watch it again. 6.9. 6.9. Watch it.
But I think that's, I mentioned all that because, because I made that, I thought it'd be funny to make fun of you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to use that all the time. That's a fantastic
But I bring it up also because I think kind of, as we kind of wrap things up, it's kind of, the point of it is, at the end of the day, like, it's fun that we have these, like, outlets for the hobbies because it's stuff that we enjoy. And it's really easy to get caught up in stuff that, like, you don't actually care about or don't actually enjoy just because you kind of feel like you're supposed to. And I think that's one of the beautiful things and one of the cool things about, like, when you really take a moment to step back, breathe, and like so you realize, hey, you know what, like, this is not as important to me, and I don't have to feel pressured by anybody to like this just because they told me I should, And so with all of our hobbies, like when we make a video, we went through phases in the early days of YouTube channel where we tried to like kind of emulate or copy other channels, and we were like, we hated that.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah,
it turns out.
We hated it. It was not worth the effort of copying somebody else. And eventually it's just kind of about finding your own interest, your own voice in it.
Yeah.
And just having fun with that,
Yeah. So I think really the big takeaway is Super Squad D, where the D stands for defun. Like, subscribe, comment, rate.
Hey, thanks for sitting with us.
Yeah, it's fun. We had a good time.
Yeah,